I am Chris Brogan. I am very happy to have Aaron Strout on my line with me to talk a lot about a book that he wrote with Mike Schneider. I have to call him Schneider Mike because he's the only guy that we know that has his name backwards like that, but no one ever calls him Mike Schneider, do they?
No, I find myself, it's hard for me to actually call him Mike because in my mind he's Schneider Mike.
Yeah, I'm with you. So the book is Location-Based Marketing for Dummies, and I've had the pleasure of being on panels with Mike where, I was the moderator, and I would throw to him like the worst question, and he'd give me back the best answer because he just knew more than I did. So, I guess first off, like, how long have you been using location-based services? Like, how long has this been a thing for you and Mike?
Well, part of why I was excited about doing this interview with you, Chris, is I think you and I, along with Brian Person and Doug Haslam, the major Boston geeks, have been using this stuff since I want to say '07 when we started using Brightkite, which is unfortunately no longer a location-based service.
Mm-hmm.
So I started, 4 years ago, and I think we in '09, which I think is probably about the same time you did, and that was when it started to, location in general started to catch on.
So, it's funny because I went the opposite way. I was like, Foursquare, I don't want to tell people where I am. And meanwhile, you're seeing the potential for business. So, why am I wrong and why are you right? Like, I get what businesses get out of it, but what do users get out of, like, giving their data to a business like that?
Yeah, well, I mean, there's a certain element, again, maybe more geeks, more young than anything else, that they like to check in, especially if they're going someplace cool. They like to brag about it to their friends, right? If they're at a restaurant, bar, sports game, etc. So that's one of them. I think part of the problem and why location hasn't taken off to the degree that we would love it to take off is the fact that a lot of businesses have not made the offers rich enough or compelling enough.
Mm-hmm.
And that's one of the areas where there could be a lot more done in terms of businesses. And it doesn't have to be monetary. It could be experiential. It could be recognition. Our friend Becky Carroll just wrote a book about customers rocking. And one of the things she talked about was, recognition a lot of times gets the job done.
Yeah, that's not untrue. Apropos of this time frame, Facebook Places just said they were done. They're closing the doors on that. So my guess is you probably have a section about Facebook Places and location-based marketing for dummies. I'm writing a book that's also like time-specific technology kind of book. Does that bug you? Does that end up getting to you that you've like done that, or does it not matter to you? Sorry, I had my mute on for a second.
I was going to say, I lost your audio. Is that me? Hopefully
That was
not.
me.
So.
It was me. No, I'm not working at home today, and I've got my kids, and so I was just kind of covering some noises.
Hi, kids.
Hi, kids. So I kind of alluded to that. I'm writing a book about something time specific as well. I'm writing a book about Google Plus. You had mentioned Google Plus in some of the questions we might talk about. What's the Google has its version of location. What do you think about location based services with Google Plus? Yeah, I am. I'm of the same mind, and it's interesting because I mean, with Scavenger, with some of their other acquisitions, but they bought Jaiku however long ago, and now there's Google Plus. Who knows what parts of that, and Friend Feed and all that, maybe came from that. I'll uh, I'll say that that's probably the case. Hey, tell me some takeaways that businesses might be able to use, with location-based marketing. What kind of things should they be doing right now?
Pick one or two. And that's straightforward. They were one of the first ones to roll out an offer: 3 scoops for $3, and the mayor got an extra scoop. Easy to take advantage of. Very clear what the value proposition was. The fourth is making sure that you're testing and measuring. So this is a great time to sort of learn. Not dissimilar to Google Plus, and I'm sure some of the advice you're giving to customers or kind of give you that deer in the headlights look. And there's nothing worse, no better wet blanket than that, right? So make sure that you and your staff are properly trained up to take advantage of these things.
I've got to just throw underline on that and highlighter and sparkles or something, glitter perhaps.
Yes.
It's amazing. Like 2 or 3 years ago, I was thinking about Southwest Air and just what it was such a great job. Oh my gosh, I'm going to forget her name. Help me out, Paula.
Oh yeah, Paula. Yes.
Paula Berg.
Paula Berg.
Paula
Yeah,
Berg. Thank
Yep.
goodness. Woo, we pulled it out. Paula Berg, makes you love Southwest Air. And I'd get to the counter, I'd have a problem, and nothing was like Paula Berg. And I was just like, you can't do this. Like it's not okay to have a great customer experience on the Twitter and get to the line and have nothing. So I think that's the biggest point you made is, if you're going to go this, you've got to train up everybody. You've got to let them know that someone's going to be showing you their phone and they're going to mean something. The opposite, Aaron, I'm curious if this has happened to you yet, because it just happened to me. I was at Legal Seafoods down, I think sort of down near Framingham or somewhere. I was down that way, and I was at a Legal Seafoods. The woman brings me my platter. It was a lobster done bourbon style or something. She goes, "Isn't it great? Take a photo of it." The server said that. Put it up on the web. I was just like, how bizarre. Like,
All right.
like, okay.
Do you think, did she know who you were, or
No, not at all. Not at
Okay.
all. She was a lovely lady, but I mean, just that became somehow okay to do in restaurants, because it used to be that we'd do it and we'd be like, "Oh, sorry, I'm kind of a food nerd or something."
Yeah.
But I think with location-based marketing, do you think that's? I guess where I'm going with all that is, do you think that the people are ready for it now too? Like culture has kind of accepted a little bit more poking phones around our food.
That's an interesting case, and I think where she probably overstepped the line is it may have been okay to say, hey, I see you've got a smartphone. I don't know if you know this or not, but we're on Scavenger, Goala, Foursquare. If you check in, we have a special going today, right? Or we like to thank all of our customers. If you want to take the time to do that, that would be great. And so what businesses forget about is there has to be a value chain, or there's a value flow, right? So it has to be equal value or more value flowing toward the customer. And it's one of the things Mike and I talk about in the book is it's okay for businesses to ask people to check in, but they need to explain why, and there needs to be some compelling reason versus, hey, why don't you take a picture of your lobster and upload it to the web, which what she's clearly saying is we'd like to leverage your network and we want to sort of we want you to pimp us out, and
Right.
why would you want to do that, right? There's no explicit quid pro quo in it for you.
Exactly. Hey, Aaron, what's the? I mean, as people are kind of moving along in this space, there's a lot of things to get into. Where should people pay attention? Obviously, picking up location-based marketing for dummies is a good first step. Where else should they be following these trends? Cool. Well, I appreciate it. Aaron, they always ask this at the end of interviews. Where do people find out more about you?
Well, I don't disguise myself very well. Sort of like yourself, I'm boring. I'm just Aaron Strout. You can find me on Twitter, Facebook. My blog is blog.stroutmeister.com. But I've also been blogging a lot on my work blog, which is blog.wcgworld, WORLD.com. And I usually don't ever try to pimp out work stuff, but there are a lot of really good contributors there. I like to try to talk a lot about location over there. So I think that would give people a good sense. There is one place that is near and dear to my heart. You probably heard me sort of chat a little bit about this, but it's Instagram, and it's a photo sharing site. And it's one of the places that I spend at least an hour a day on over the course of the day, taking pictures and sharing, and I'm just Aaron Strout there as well.
Wow, I never got into it. In fact, I tend to make jokes about Instagram. Making boring moments into album covers every day. That's how I call Instagram. But what I will freely admit is I haven't been on the community side. I've only been on the see it dumped into Twitter and Google Plus side. I've only seen the grainy looking version of a trash can.
Yes, but it's 1,000 times less exciting when you're getting it that way, especially for people that overpost versus participating in the community.
Yeah, see, I think I'm missing something. Schneider Mike, who is not here, I can't remember his blog name to save myself.
Fortunately, he makes it easy as well, so even though he inverses his name, everything is Schneider Mike for him. So Twitter is Schneider Mike, his blog is schneidermike.com.
Okay.
I think he's that same on Facebook and most of his other location-based services.
Super. Aaron Strout, thank you so much for your time. I appreciate you being available.
Chris, this was wonderful. Thank you for taking the time.
Cool.